Dear all, we know that many of you have been waiting to hear from us regarding the events of the past week. It would be an understatement to say that having videos of Grand Theft Auto 6 gameplay leak in this way has been heartbreaking for our team, and this is obviously not how we intended for you to see the game after all this time. We are very sorry that everything has taken as long as it has, from getting the game finished, nearly there, to sharing more details and official gameplay and providing the community with everything you want to know. We are very excited for everyone to see the extended look tomorrow. It has taken longer than we wanted to get it ready, but as with everything we do, we know we need to exceed your expectations, and we are determined to deliver at the level you expect and deserve. While it is unfortunate that the intended game experience may now be impacted by some spoilers, we hope that everyone will wait a bit longer to experience the game for themselves on November 19th. We want to thank everyone in the community who has reached out with messages of support this past week. Your words have meant more to this team than you can imagine. Ultimately, we are making this game for you, and without you, we would not have the privilege of making games. We look forward to sharing more with you soon. Sincerely, Rockstar Games. Rockstar finally said something, and if you reduce their statement to GTA 6 leaked, Rockstar apologized, you missed the most important part of what they actually said, because Rockstar is not apologizing for the leak itself. Rockstar described the footage appearing this way as heartbreaking for the team, then apologized for something much broader. How long it has taken to finish GTA 6, share meaningful details, and finally show official gameplay. That distinction completely changes the story. For years, Rockstar has operated as if normal marketing rules do not apply to them. Other studios spend months releasing interviews, developer diaries, feature breakdowns, and carefully scheduled previews. Rockstar can disappear, upload one image without warning, and dominate gaming discussion for the rest of the week. GTA 6 took that advantage to an extreme. Information became so rare that almost anything connected to the game gained absurd value. A background detail from a trailer could generate hours of analysis. People reconstructed parts of Leonida from tiny landmarks, studied vehicle interiors from individual frames, and debated NPC behavior based on moments that lasted less than a second. That environment is incredible. When Rockstar controls the material, it becomes much less comfortable when someone else gets there first. Recent gameplay clips arrived just before Rockstar was preparing to give the public a much larger official look at the game. Instead of audiences seeing those systems through a presentation built by the developers, unfinished context was suddenly being supplied by anonymous uploads, reposts, and compressed recordings. The timing is almost as important as the leak itself. GTA 6 is no longer sitting somewhere in a distant future. November 19 is getting close enough for the marketing campaign to enter its final phase, which means each reveal now has a specific purpose. One video introduces a mechanic, another gives more context to the characters, screenshots establish parts of the world, and eventually the audience arrives at launch with a carefully shaped understanding of the game. A leak cuts across that sequence. Something intended to be discovered later can suddenly become today's trending clip. Material designed to make sense within a larger presentation gets separated from its surroundings. People then have to interpret whatever is visible without knowing what happened before the recording started. Why that particular scene was being played, or whether the person capturing it was even trying to present the game normally, the internet rarely leaves that uncertainty alone. Within minutes, a short video becomes evidence for completely opposite conclusions. One group decides GTA 6 has been downgraded while another treats the same footage as confirmation that Rockstar has built the most advanced open world ever made. Neither side needs much information because the argument itself becomes more entertaining than the footage. For the people actually developing the game, that must be an incredibly strange experience. Imagine spending months refining a system that is meant to work quietly in the background. Maybe the player never consciously notices most of what you built. The entire point could be making a reaction feel natural enough that nobody stops to question it. Then a tiny piece of that work escapes online, and suddenly thousands of strangers are trying to evaluate the whole system from a few seconds. Game development is messy, even when the final product looks seamless. Debug tools exist. Systems get isolated for testing. Features change, performance work continues. Animations are adjusted, different departments integrate their work at different stages. Development footage can therefore be completely genuine without representing the experience a customer eventually receives. That does not make leaked footage useless. It simply makes certainty dangerous. Rockstar knows how quickly first impressions become permanent narratives. Once the phrase GTA 6 downgrade starts spreading, explaining the origin of a particular clip becomes much harder than preventing the impression in the first place. Their unusually emotional wording makes more sense in that context. Calling the situation heartbreaking puts the focus on the development team rather than the corporation. GTA 6 is often discussed like a financial object because the numbers surrounding it are enormous. Yet behind those numbers are artists, programmers, writers, animators, designers, and testers who have spent a significant portion of their careers on one project. Somebody may have spent years building a piece of the world that players drive through without thinking about it. Another developer could be responsible for transitions so subtle that their success depends on the audience never noticing them. Hundreds of those contributions eventually combine into something Rockstar intended to reveal as a finished experience. Watching parts of it escape early is not the same thing as seeing a trailer release ahead of schedule. The more revealing part of Rockstar's message arrives when they turn toward the audience. They openly acknowledge that GTA 6 has taken an extremely long time. That admission is unusual for a company famous for saying almost nothing until it feels ready. Rockstar normally does not spend much time defending its schedule. Silence continues until there is something new to publish. Then millions of people immediately return. Here, the company recognizes that players have been waiting not only for the game, but also for basic answers. Official gameplay has been one of the largest missing pieces. Cinematic trailers can establish characters and atmosphere beautifully, yet they still leave the biggest question untouched. What does GTA 6 actually feel like when somebody is playing it? That curiosity explains why the leaked footage attracted so much attention without excusing how it appeared. Rockstar created extraordinary demand through scarcity. Every long period of silence increased the value of whatever came next. As a marketing strategy, the results are difficult to argue with. GTA 6 can dominate discussion without a conventional stream of promotion. Scarcity also creates a market for unofficial information. When audiences already have extensive gameplay, a random clip from an unreleased build may be interesting without becoming a major event. GTA 6 has existed under completely different conditions. Years of speculation turned even basic footage into something people felt they had been denied. Rockstar appears to understand that frustration now because their statement does not lecture the community for being curious. The tone is closer to an acknowledgement that everyone has been waiting too long, followed by a promise that the official material is finally about to arrive. Then comes the smallest phrase with the biggest implications. Rockstar says the game is nearly there. Those words should not be turned into a promise that every line of code is finished. Large games remain active projects very close to release, particularly when polishing a world this complicated. Bugs still need attention, performance can change, certification requirements have to be satisfied, and millions of interactions create opportunities for problems that only appear under unusual conditions. Even with those caveats, Rockstar choosing to publicly describe GTA 6 as nearly finished is meaningful. We have spent so long talking about this game as a future event that it almost stopped feeling like a product people would eventually install on a console. GTA 5 released in 2013. Think about how much changed during that gap. Entire gaming trends appeared and disappeared. Hardware generations moved forward. Rockstar released Red Dead Redemption 2 and continued expanding GTA Online. Players who experienced GTA 5 as teenagers are now adults with completely different lives. GTA 6 somehow remained on the horizon through all of it. Now that horizon is close, that creates a new problem for Rockstar because anticipation built over 13 years does not disappear when the game becomes tangible. It turns into expectation. The imaginary version of GTA 6 has had far too much time to grow. Some players expect the physical weight they remember from GTA 4, combined with the environmental detail of Red Dead Redemption 2 and the freedom associated with San Andreas. Modern technology adds another layer to the fantasy. More advanced crowds, better police behavior, huge numbers of interiors, complex weather, deeper vehicle simulation, dynamic social systems, and a world capable of responding intelligently to almost anything. Nobody at Rockstar could realistically build every version of GTA 6 that exists inside millions of people's heads. That is why the official extended look matters so much. Tomorrow's presentation does not need to convince people that Vice City looks beautiful. Rockstar cleared that hurdle a long time ago. The challenge is demonstrating that the years between GTA 5 and GTA 6 exist somewhere beyond visual fidelity. A convincing answer probably appears in ordinary moments rather than spectacular ones. Watch a crowded street after the player disrupts it. Pay attention to the transition from normal city life into chaos. Notice whether traffic responds sensibly, how nearby pedestrians behave, where attention comes from, and whether the environment seems to understand what just happened. Those interactions reveal more about an open world than a panoramic shot ever could. GTA has always worked because seemingly simple systems collide and produce stories nobody planned in advance. You leave a mission intending to drive somewhere, cause a minor accident, attract the wrong attention, lose your vehicle, improvise another route, and suddenly 15 minutes have disappeared. The objective was irrelevant. The world created the entertainment. If GTA 6 meaningfully advances that quality, the difference could be far more important than map size. A giant map sounds impressive in a press release, but players quickly understand whether the space contains meaningful activity. Density is harder to quantify because it is not about placing more objects everywhere. Believability comes from relationships between systems. Red Dead Redemption 2 provides the clearest clue to Rockstar's philosophy. That game often impressed people through details they were never required to notice. Characters could remember earlier encounters. Animals behaved differently depending on context. Physical interactions gave mundane actions unusual weight. Small environmental changes helped the world feel like it continued existing outside the player's immediate objective. Transplanting that philosophy into a modern metropolis is significantly harder. A city introduces constant traffic, crowds, emergency services, businesses, interior spaces, changing neighborhoods, and far more opportunities for simultaneous events. Modern settings also expose artificial behavior much faster because players already understand how a city should function. A horse behaving strangely in the wilderness can look funny. 20 vehicles making identical decisions at an intersection immediately reveals the simulation underneath. That is where GTA 6 can separate itself from GTA 5 more convincingly than any resolution comparison. Rockstar does not need to simulate real life perfectly. GTA has never been a documentary. Its world simply needs enough consistency for the player to understand its rules, then enough flexibility for those rules to create unpredictable situations. Tomorrow gives us the first real opportunity to see whether that philosophy has evolved. The leak cannot provide the same kind of answer because isolated footage naturally removes relationships between systems. A mechanic may appear simple until something else interacts with it. Context turns individual features into gameplay. This is probably the strongest way Rockstar can move past the leak. Trying to erase every copy from the internet is impossible once enough people have saved the material. Legal action can target the source, and takedowns can reduce visibility. But neither method reverses what viewers already saw. Attention is easier to replace than memory. Publish something substantially better and the low-quality clips lose their importance. That does not require Rockstar to reveal the entire game. Preserving mystery still matters, particularly for a series built around exploration. Showing every activity before launch would solve one problem by creating another. The ideal presentation gives the audience confidence without turning Leonida into a check. A single uninterrupted situation could accomplish more than 10 minutes of feature names. Let the world breathe long enough for people to observe how it behaves. Allow the player to move naturally instead of cutting away every few seconds. Small reactions can communicate sophistication without a narrator announcing how sophisticated everything is. Rockstar is in a position where demonstration carries more weight than description. Players have already heard that GTA 6 is ambitious. Of course it is. Nobody waited 13 years expecting Rockstar to make something modest. The more interesting question concerns where the ambition went. Did development produce richer interactions or simply more content? Has the structure of police encounters changed in a meaningful way? Can neighborhoods influence how situations unfold? Does movement through the world feel more physical? Are crowds merely denser, or are they more responsive? Those answers cannot live in marketing adjectives forever. Soon we will be able to see them. The leak story also contains a much uglier element beyond the gameplay itself. Reports around the person or group claiming responsibility describe efforts to use the attention for crypto-related promotion. If accurate, that removes much of the rebellious image people often attach to major gaming leaks. Using unreleased work to draw attention toward an unrelated financial interest is difficult to frame as some generous service to impatient fans. GTA 6 simply provides enormous leverage. Millions of people want information, which means anyone holding material can instantly command an audience. The project has become so culturally valuable that access itself can be exploited. Take-Two's reported attempts to obtain information from Microsoft and Discord show how seriously the company is pursuing the source. That response is predictable. GTA 6 represents years of development, an enormous commercial investment, and a launch strategy coordinated across multiple companies. Unauthorized material raises questions far beyond whether a clip remains online. The method used to obtain it becomes critical. A compromised account would suggest one type of security problem. Insider access creates another. External partners expand the number of possibilities. Additional unreleased material may exist even after the public clips stop. Story content would be especially damaging this close to launch. A player who watches a short driving clip can still experience almost the entire game. Fresh, major narrative information is harder to forget once it reaches social media. That possibility explains Rockstar's spoiler warning better than simple frustration about visual quality. Discovery is part of the value of a Rockstar game. People naturally think of spoilers as endings or character deaths, but open worlds contain a different kind of surprise. Finding something unexpected while exploring creates a memory precisely because the player did not know it existed. A bizarre event on an isolated road can stay with someone longer than a scripted mission. Seeing that moment in a thumbnail 3 months earlier changes the experience even when no major story detail is involved. The closer we get to release, the harder avoiding this material may be. Social platforms do not distinguish between somebody actively searching for leaks and somebody who watched one legitimate GTA 6 trailer. Recommendation systems see interest, then supply more of the same official footage, speculation, fake leaks, and genuine stolen material can end up beside each other. That mess creates another reason for Rockstar to become the most useful source of GTA 6 information. People chase anonymous accounts when official channels leave a vacuum. Fill enough of that vacuum and the incentive changes. There is still a balance to maintain because Rockstar's secrecy has genuine creative value. Modern entertainment often reveals too much before release. Trailers explain entire movies, game showcases list every feature, previews demonstrate every major mechanic, and by launch, the audience already knows the shape of the experience. Rockstar traditionally resists that. Part of the excitement around their games comes from uncertainty. I do not think this leak will suddenly transform the company into an open development studio. The more likely adjustment is tempo. November is close enough that information can arrive more frequently without exhausting the game before release. The extended look starts, that phase naturally, and future marketing can gradually narrow the gap between what Rockstar knows and what the audience understands. There is also a practical advantage to increasing the flow now. Every substantial official reveal reduces the exclusive value of leaked material. An anonymous account loses some power if Rockstar has already answered the questions people care about most. The source can still reveal surprises, but basic curiosity stops being enough to drive millions towards stolen footage. Rockstar's statement, therefore, feels less like panic and more like an attempt to redirect the moment. The company did not cancel tomorrow's presentation. It did not retreat into silence. Instead, it acknowledged what happened, expressed frustration on behalf of the team, recognized the long wait, and pointed forward. That sequence matters. The most effective answer to bad footage is better footage. Tomorrow becomes a chance to replace the entire conversation rather than continue arguing about the leak. By the time people have watched the extended look, discussion could move somewhere completely different. Perhaps a new gameplay system becomes the main topic. Maybe world density dominates analysis. A particular animation could surprise everyone for reasons unrelated to anything already leaked. The point is that Rockstar gets to provide enough material for the audience to discuss GTA 6 itself, rather than the circumstances surrounding stolen clips. That shift would be a win. It would also mark the beginning of the end for one of the strangest periods in gaming history. GTA 6 has spent years existing as a mixture of official trailers, rumors, old development leaks, and community imagination. Very soon, speculation loses its monopoly. Actual gameplay enters the conversation. Then November arrives, and millions of people can test every theory themselves. Rockstar has never faced a release quite like this because GTA 6 is carrying the legacy of GTA 5 while also competing against the expectations created by Red Dead Redemption 2. Those games established different standards. GTA 5 demonstrated longevity, accessibility, and sandbox scale. Red Dead showed how obsessive Rockstar could become with physical detail, animation, and world behavior. GTA 6 now inherits both reputations. The audience expects a modern GTA to feel immediate and chaotic while also containing the kind of subtle simulation Rockstar spent years refining in Red Dead. Achieving both at the same time is much harder than simply combining features. Fast movement through a city puts enormous pressure on world simulation. Players travel quickly enough to encounter new streets, vehicles, and pedestrians constantly. Systems have less time to prepare believable reactions. Everything needs to work, while the player is creating chaos at a speed that Red Dead rarely demanded. That technical challenge is fascinating. A detailed cowboy standing in a saloon can interact with a relatively controlled environment. Vice City may need to handle a sports car moving through dense traffic while pedestrians scatter, police respond, physical objects react. Weather affects visibility, and dozens of background processes continue nearby. The player will not care how difficult any of that was to build. They will only notice when it fails. That is the brutal part of creating believable systems. Good simulation often becomes invisible. Something behaves naturally, and the player simply accepts it. A single absurd reaction breaks the illusion instantly. Rockstar's development time may have been consumed by thousands of problems like that, rather than one headline feature. This possibility is worth remembering when people ask what could possibly take so long. Modern AAA games are not difficult because developers need 13 years to draw a prettier car. Complexity grows through interaction. Every new feature touches other features. A vehicle system connects with physics, animation, AI, audio damage, traffic logic, mission scripting, and networking. Changing one element can create unexpected consequences somewhere else. Scale multiplies those relationships. GTA 6 does not have to include infinite possibilities for development to become extremely complicated. It only needs enough overlapping systems for edge cases to appear constantly. That is another reason Rockstar may be especially sensitive about uncontrolled footage. Players see the visible layer. Developers know how much invisible machinery exists underneath it. A clip might capture the exact moment where one piece is being tested without the polish that normally hides the machinery. Again, none of this means viewers should blindly assume every rough element will magically improve. Skepticism is reasonable. The difference is between observing something and declaring a final verdict from it. Official gameplay gives us a much better foundation for those judgments. Once Rockstar deliberately presents a system as representative of GTA 6, criticism becomes far more meaningful. That is the standard. The company is voluntarily approaching. The statement even increases pressure, because Rockstar says it understands the level people expect and intends to meet it. Those words carry unusual weight when the product is GTA 6. A smaller studio can impress by exceeding reasonable expectations. Rockstar is facing expectations that stopped being reasonable years ago. The game has become a cultural event before anyone has played it. People who barely follow gaming know GTA 6 is coming. Every trailer becomes mainstream news. Release delays affect other publishers' scheduling discussions. Businesses know a huge portion of the gaming audience may disappear into Leonida when November arrives. Very few entertainment products reach that position. Success on that scale sounds comfortable from the outside, yet it creates a strange creative trap. GTA 6 cannot merely be compared with other games releasing this year. People will compare it with memories of previous Rockstar titles, 13 years of imagined possibilities, promises Rockstar never actually made, and expectations generated by an industry that has changed dramatically since 2013. Some disappointment is inevitable. There will be mechanics someone wanted that do not exist. A beloved feature from an older game may be different. Certain players will prefer GTA 4's handling or GTA 5's tone. Others will dislike story choices. No amount of development time can create a single version of GTA that satisfies every interpretation of what the series should be. Rockstar's real goal has to be creating enough new experiences that the conversation moves beyond those comparisons. The first time GTA 6 produces a situation that could not have happened in GTA 5, players will understand the sequel much faster than they would from any technical explanation. That is the kind of moment tomorrow could reveal. It does not need to be dramatic. Sometimes the strongest technological demonstrations are quiet, an NPC noticing something in a believable way, a character adapting naturally to the environment, a chase evolving because the world reacts instead of following a fixed pattern. One unexpected interaction can communicate years of progress when it feels systemic rather than scripted. That is where I think GTA 6 either begins separating itself from the enormous shadow behind it, or starts looking like a more advanced continuation of familiar ideas. Both outcomes could still produce a great game. Only one would match the almost impossible mythology surrounding this release. Rockstar helped create that mythology through silence. The leak temporarily broke the silence for them. Now the company has an opportunity to reclaim the narrative with something far more useful than another statement. Actual footage can end arguments that words cannot. More importantly, it can replace imagination with evidence. That transition is probably going to feel strange after so many years. GTA 6 discussion has survived on questions. Soon we start getting answers. The shift may even make some people nostalgic for the speculation era because mystery is often more exciting than certainty. Every fan has their own perfect GTA 6 before release, only Rockstar's version survives afterward. That reality makes tomorrow important for reasons beyond the leak. We are reaching the point where the audience starts discovering what GTA 6 actually chose to be, not what anonymous insiders claimed. The finished creative decisions are finally moving into view. By November, the entire relationship flips. Rockstar currently controls access while millions of people wait outside. Launch day gives control to the audience. Players will immediately push the game in directions developers did not expect. Secrets designed to last months may be discovered in days. Glitches will travel across the internet before patches can reach consoles. Small mechanics could become more popular than major features. Characters Rockstar expects people to love might divide the community. Some obscure activity may unexpectedly become everyone's favorite part of Leonida. No marketing department can fully predict that. It is the moment when a project stops, belonging only to its creators and becomes part of culture. The current leak is essentially an unwanted early sample of that transition. Rockstar wanted a little more time behind the curtain. Someone opened it before they were ready. Their reaction tells us the team cared deeply about controlling that first impression, but the apology tells us something equally important. They understand why the audience has become impatient. Both things can be true without canceling each other out. Developers deserve to reveal their work properly. Players are also allowed to feel exhausted after years of silence and delay. The interesting part is how Rockstar handles the tension from here. Tomorrow gives them the cleanest possible opportunity. Forget the leaked clips for a moment. A proper look at GTA 6 can make the entire controversy feel much smaller simply by reminding everyone what the real story is. The real story is not an anonymous account. It is not a crypto promotion. It is not a deleted post. The real story is that one of the longest waits in modern gaming is almost over. Rockstar saying nearly there matters because those words move GTA 6 out of mythology. The countdown finally feels real. November 19 is no longer a date sitting on the other side of another year. Every week from here carries us closer to the point where trailers stop mattering and the game has to stand on its own. That is when all the expectations, arguments, and theories finally become irrelevant. A controller will answer them. The driving either feels right in your hands or it does not. Vice City either convinces you that it is alive or the illusion fades. Jason and Lucia either become characters people remember or they become part of a story that never reaches the level of Rockstar's best work. Systems that sound impressive on paper will either create memorable situations naturally or remain. Background technology, most people forget about. Those answers belong to the finished game. A leak cannot settle them, neither can an apology. Tomorrow can only give us the first serious indication. And that is why Rockstar's statement is more important than the headline makes it sound. They did not simply acknowledge that footage escaped. For a moment, Rockstar acknowledged the entire weight of the wait. The developers have spent years trying to finish something under extraordinary pressure. The audience has spent years asking to see it. Those two timelines are finally about to meet. The leak happened just before the meet. Now Rockstar gets the chance to show why it wanted us to wait. That is the part worth watching.